What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition to my Godzilla comic book reviews, as well as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reviews. I can't remember if I actually did cover any Ninja Turtle stuff on my channel in terms of like comic book reviews. I feel like I might have talked about Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a while back. I'd have to go and look again. But yes, the long-awaited crossover between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Godzilla is finally here. I can't believe I'm actually looking at this thing right now. I can't believe this is an official crossover. It's a surreal feeling. Like, it's just crazy to think about how much stuff has crossed over with Godzilla in like recent years. And also, I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan as well. I love the four of them. I've seen all the movies, and I watched a bunch of the animated stuff. Not everything, and I haven't read everything. So I'm not like the biggest expert, like a diehard expert, but you know, I have a fairly good knowledge of Ninja Turtle stuff. So seeing them cross over with Godzilla is a really cool thing. But I'm just kind of thinking, how are you supposed to do a crossover like this? When you have something like Power Rangers, okay, they get in the Zords and fight in that regards. Or you could do something crazy, such as when they did the monster piece, like theater or whatever it was, where it was like the Great Gatsby and Dracula and all that. That was a pretty wild thing. Or, you know, they've done the Marvel stuff and they've done the DC characters and all that. So having the Ninja Turtles crossover, but Ninja Turtles deals with a lot of fantastical elements too. So I guess it's not so outlandish to see giant monsters in this world too. So it'll be fun to see how it all comes together and how they're going to try and face off against these giant monsters and all that too. So the opening of the issue is Oroku Saki and Hamato Yoshi with Splinter kind of off on his shoulder right there. They're talking with one another, and then we see Godzilla pop up and they get ready to fight. And you're thinking, how is a bunch of swords going to stop Godzilla? We've seen what he's been capable of in the past, but Master Splinter kind of explains later on that there's like clandestine techniques that were used to kind of thwart these monsters away. And also this one is written by Tim Seeley, who's also been doing a lot of Godzilla stuff right now. He's kind of the main architect, or one of them behind the Kaisei era of Godzilla stuff. And then we have artist Fero Pe, a colorist Luis Antonio Delgado, and letterer and designer Brian Kolick, and editors Jake Williams and Nicolas Nino. So we got them on this thing. Artwork looks pretty great throughout the whole issue. And then we kind of cut forward where we see the Ninja Turtles facing off against Bebop and Rocksteady, who are trying to steal something from this Miss Kinoshita. I'm sure technology will factor onto the plot in some sort of capacity later on. Maybe like it's a Deus Ex Machina or something, but she has this technology. They're after it, because like Crang and Shredder, who are working together, are also after it as well. So they take her back someplace to like their little turtle lair right there to kind of lay low for a minute, and then some big attacks are going on in Japan. Now, Splinter knows all about this stuff. He talks about how the kaiju served as like forces of nature, Rodan of the sky, Anguirus of the earth, Mothra of the lights, and then he mentions that using clandestine techniques were used to kind of push the kaiju back. But then he mentions Godzilla showing up, awakened, like a monster from the sea, awakened and kind of rageful for humanity, doing bad things that humanity tends to do. And he talks about how like the clan or whatever was the Foot Clan kind of merged into like this path of darkness as a result of kind of this battle going wrong, and just kind of setting him on a poor path later on in that too. So but you know, you're not going to do well against Godzilla. That's just kind of the main takeaway. But yeah, some interesting bit of history there. And then they're watching this stuff on the news. They're like, okay, we got to head over to Japan. They also find Shredder there. And so Raph is like, I'm betting that he's responsible, because why else would he be there too? So he's there, and then he's also working with Crang, as we see, and he's looking for dosages of Godzilla's blood, as they call kaiju again. So it's like mutagens, but kaiju again. So they're going to maybe use this to build giant-sized versions of these characters to fight alongside them. So that's a pretty cool thing. And then we also have Mondo the Gecko, Casey Jones. Gotta love Casey Jones. And they're doing their stuff when some crazy stuff goes on, and we come to see that Ghidorah has now invaded New York City. So the Turtles are going to head to Japan, or maybe they're already kind of there. Or I think they were just getting ready to pack. Actually, no, they haven't arrived just yet. But with Ghidorah arriving, as Splinter says that this is a rival to the kaiju as well, it seems like a lot of chaos is unfolding. And look at this cover on the right here. Look at this. Godzilla's kind of morphing into this Shredder mask. I think that's pretty sweet. But yeah, so Ghidorah is making an appearance in this thing too. So he's going to attack New York, and the Turtles are going to have to do something to stop him. So I'm willing to bet that Kaiju again is going to maybe turn the Turtles to like giant sized. It'll probably grow their garments and that too in the process because, you know, science and fun and all that, I suppose. So that's going to happen, and then they're going to probably fight alongside Godzilla and maybe some of the other monsters to thwart Ghidorah and giant-sized versions of maybe Bebop and Rocksteady or something like that. I mean, we're getting something kind of similar in Justly versus Godzilla versus Kong, where they're growing, like Killer Croc grown to Godzilla size to kind of fight things and all that too, using like Hollow Earth stuff. But I'm sure we'll see something kind of similar here. But overall, pretty solid first start to this thing. It'll be cool to see the Turtles and Godzilla kind of look after, like kind of face off against one another. We haven't had Godzilla vs. Gamera like an official storyline, and we've had crossovers in Battle Line, and now that Gamera I just saw was announced to be added to Giga Bash, so you can fight the characters in that capacity if you have the DLC, so that's kind of cool. So, but, you know, beforehand, we're at least going to get the Turtles and Godzilla. I'm sure some people are like, well, what about Gamera? Can't we get Gamera and the Ninja Turtles crossing over? That'd be pretty sweet. But in the meantime, if you want an official, like, Godzilla versus Turtle stuff, well, technically you had it in some other stuff, but like an actual written storyline, you're going to have to turn to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Godzilla. So I enjoyed the hell out of this thing. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where the storyline goes from here. I don't know how many issues there are there. I'm going to assume it's probably like 5 or 6, but if there's more, sweet. I'm all for more. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's taking some of my favorite IPs and just kind of combining them together in a fun little storyline. So, thumbs up for me. Go check it out. What did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications. I've got one more Godzilla comic book, which is Escape from the Dead Zone #4, which I'll probably post maybe later on tonight or tomorrow or something, or maybe even afterwards, because I'm recording this thing during lunch hour, but like when I upload it, like I have to do some editing tweaks with it. So yeah, so I'll get around to it at some point. So, but in the meantime, thanks so much for watching. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.